The sponsor my wife selected from a welfare list grew up to become her personal. On Valentine's Day, my dazzling wife's mail posted on Instagram, a mirror selfie shot in a luxe hotel suite, a woman wrapped only in a towel faintly reflected behind him. I slid the divorce papers across the table and smiled. Grow old together. She shredded the document, eyes bloodshot. I don't agree. One romantic Valentine business trip, hotels sold out, forced to share a suite with my hot CEO goddess. Sam framed himself against the gilt bathroom mirror, abs on full display, face pure innocence. In the corner of the frame, the curved silhouette of a woman in a fair skin, hourglass lines made the imagination sprint. One comment read, "Living the dream, bro." Sam replied with a Shiba Inu emoji and text, "Heh, hitting the jackpot feels good." I double-tapped his reply. Minutes later my phone rang. On the line he sounded wounded, insisting it was just a joke, nothing more. He'd simply never stayed anywhere this opulent and wanted a keepsake. Victoria took the handset and, without warning, unloaded on me. Sharing a room makes you triggered? If you're bored, find a hobby. Stop stalking my people. Then, voice honey soft, she soothed Sam, ignore him, he's in a mood. His grating laugh leaked through the speaker. I quietly ended the call. 10 years of secret love, 4 years of dating, 2 years of marriage. I had been Victoria's doormat husband for 2 full decades, cooking dinner so it was hot when she came home, nursing her through every fever while she grew colder, treating my devotion as her birthright. At that moment the heart that had room only for her gave a soft, fatal crack. I was exhausted, I refused to keep barking for scraps. When her trip ended, Victoria pushed through the door and caught me mid-match. Ever since she'd mocked me in public, said I sat on my ass gaming instead of hitting the gym, that my physique was tragic. Next to Sam's ID dropped out of the world finals I'd qualified for and started training like a man possessed. She marched over, yanked the power cable, and smashed my monitor. Where are the washboard abs? You dare play? Then she set down a ribboned box of lotus leaf detox tea, the emerald wrapper screamed heat relief in gold foil. A gift from Sam, she said flatly. The kid was so rattled he almost quit, but he still insisted on apologizing in person. I sipped slowly. Quality leaves. Victoria slid her phone toward me. Call him, say thanks and sorry. Case closed. Grown man, outclassed by a 20-year-old in manners. I stayed seated, this had nothing to do with me. She shoved my shoulder, irritation spiking. He came in good faith. Stop posturing. The push landed on the old injury I'd gotten shielding her from a crashing SUV years ago. I clamped the joint, tremors racing down my arm. Her expression flickered. I'll get Advil. Our eyes locked, the words forget it formed, but I swallowed them. She grabbed the first aid kit, rummaged, then froze. Why is the painkiller dash? The sentence died, embarrassment flashing across her face. I remembered Sam's brag under the post, who says our Ice Queen CEO is heartless. She knew my swimmer's neck aches and stocked Advil just for me. Normally I'd have interrogated her until the last blister pack was accounted for. This time I let it slide. I'll walk to the pharmacy. Victoria pressed me back. You're shaking, don't be stupid. I'll dash. Her ringtone cut in. She glanced from me to the screen, then answered fast. Kai, what's up? Sam's panicked voice burst through. Casey, help me. I came to the beer fest alone and these girls cornered me, forcing shots, won't let me leave. They say they know my address and if I don't party they'll dash stay there. Drop me a pin. Victoria sprang up. Sorry to drag you out so late, Ezra's going to be pissed. He dares? She shot me a warning glare and hung up. She sprinted to the foyer, kicking into Louboutins. Victoria, I called quietly. She spun, impatient. Ezra, try empathy. Sam's in real trouble. Your keys. I interrupted, voice ice flat. What? Car keys on the coffee table. I pointed. She scooped them, hesitated, then muttered, I'll check on him and bring back your Advil, before the door slammed. Hours crawled past, she didn't return. Pain outran patience, so I opened a delivery app and ordered ibuprofen. As I closed the app, an anonymous Twitter DM popped up: no avatar, no handle, sharing Sam's viral cohabitation post. I exhaled. I'd underestimated the assistant's cunning. I tapped the link, a fresh upload, 1 hour old. Title: Domineering CEO times clueless secretary family, feast your eyes. The clip shows Sam arguing with drunk party girls. They summon buddies to intimidate him. Victoria strides in, cool, until a bottle arcs toward her skull. Sam takes the hit, blood on his temple. Just a scratch, the caption reads. No stitches, we're skipping the ER. The last frame zooms on Victoria dabbing antiseptic on his skin, her sunlit profile sparking comment: chaos, CEO that rich, that fine, forget meds, jump him already. Sam laughs, chill, buddies, give a guy time, I am closing the deal. A bystander uploads pixelated proof, asking if the shielded puppy in the footage is the same blogger. In the photo, Sam's face was bloodless, while Victoria stood in front of him like a shield, her eyes a tangle of steel and tenderness. In that instant it felt as if a needle had slid straight into my heart. I flashed back to a month earlier. Victoria had invited a bunch of friends to karaoke. When I got to the KTV, no one else had arrived. Victoria said the rest of the group would show soon. A few minutes later, a drunk man barged in, flanked by a handful of guys. I'd never seen him before. His gaze drifted, then locked on me, closing the distance until he was practically pressed against my side. I shoved him away, but he still tried to wrap an arm around me. You're absolutely gorgeous, he slurred. Even better than the manager described. Good thing that old geezer didn't lie this time, he knew I've got a type, no wonder I paid him so much. Stunned, I tried to bolt and yell for help, but his entourage blocked the only exit. Your boss says you're plain looking but totally obedient, said I could do whatever I want. His hand clamped around my throat, yanking me close enough to feel his hot breath. I'm in the mood for something different. Honestly, I panicked. I fought like hell to protect myself. Enraged, his face twisted, he crushed the lit cigarette against my forearm and I finally broke free and ran. Laughter floated down the hall as Victoria and Sam arrived in a swarm of people. Victoria! I shouted. She didn't even glance my way, leading Sam straight into a private room. When we brushed past, Sam's lips curled into a cryptic smile. He lifted his wrist and gave a little wave. The luxury watch flashed under the lights, the same watch Victoria had photographed for me while she was in France, the gift that never made it through customs. Late that night, Victoria came home reeking of booze. Ezra, what stunt was that, ducking out alone? She snapped. You made me lose face. I unbuttoned my collar and showed her the burn mark. She stared, stunned, then started demanding details. When I finished, her brows knitted and her face darkened. Ezra, enough. I can't believe you've cooked up such a lousy lie just to grab my attention, some pathetic pity play. Are you delusional? You think you're some heartthrob? Look at yourself, frumpy, a mess. You're no male model. And stuff like that doesn't happen in a karaoke bar. She passed out drunk. The next evening she tried to apologize with candlelight and steak. I thought we'd turned the page until I spotted that same photo in Sam's comments section today, and her sneer replayed in my head. I finally texted Buddy, know any good lawyers? I need to talk divorce. Morning. My phone jerked me awake. Victoria's voice was cool and distant as always. Get downstairs, I am taking you to breakfast. She hung up before I could answer. Predictable. Since the marriage was basically over, I didn't argue. I threw on clothes and headed down. Seeing me, Victoria suddenly remembered she'd forgotten to pick up medicine. The restaurant's on the way to the pharmacy, so we'll stop first. No need. I'm much better, I said flatly. She looked relieved. Good old scars shouldn't hurt much anyway. I paused, then gave a small smile. Yeah, they don't. Back when I'd taken the hit that saved her, I'd flown through the air. I never mentioned it, didn't want her burdened by guilt. But if she'd cared half as much about me as she did about Sam, she would have noticed the pain I swallowed. On the drive she recapped last night, I meant to come home early, but Sam took a bottle to the head for me, so I stayed. You don't mind, right? I gazed ahead, voice calm. Of course not. He got hurt protecting you, staying was the decent thing. Victoria slammed the brakes, my phone skidded across the dash. I felt her glare but ignored it. When I bent to retrieve the phone I also picked up a pair of men's briefs. Years ago I'd have exploded, demanding whose they were. Now I simply flipped open the glove box and dropped them inside. Victoria actually squirmed. I bought those for you for Valentine's. Thought I lost them, must be, slid under the seat. I nodded, face blank. At brunch the couple at the next table kept stealing glances. Finally the girl leaned over. Excuse me, are you the CEO from that Sugar Mama Swoons post? Victoria answered, terse, something you need? The girl squealed. Oh my god, you're even prettier in real life. Are you two dating? She asked, eyes darting between Victoria and Sam's Instagram. Victoria's gaze flicked to me. After a beat she said, yes. I stared at my plate, a faint smile tugging as a cramp twisted my gut. The girl looked at me, confused. And this is? My brother, Victoria answered without missing a beat. When they left the girl gushed, you guys are adorable, stay happy forever. Once they were gone Victoria squeezed my hand. Ezra, don't be mad. You know Sam's boss lady and her puppy, clips raking clout. I'm just helping him stage content. The kid scraped together a huge following, it's tough out there. If I denied it, how could he face his fans? Her explanation bored me. I muttered a non-committal the stomach pain sharpened. I pressed my palm to it, complexion draining. When we finally finished, Victoria drove me home. Halfway there Sam called again. Casey, emergency. I've got a flight to Shanghai but I can't find a ride, been waiting 30 minutes. I'll miss it. Can you pick me up and swing by the airport? His voice was a frightened kid's squeak. Victoria's eyes softened reflexively. On my way. She hung up and turned to me. We'll go together. No, Victoria. Cold sweat beaded on my forehead. My stomach's killing me, take me to the nearest hospital first. What did you say? Her face darkened, anger flashing. I invited you along so you wouldn't get jealous, and you're throwing a tantrum? I should have known, give you an inch and you take a mile. She pulled to the curb. If you don't want to come pick up Sam, get out here. Victoria, drive me to the ER now. I'm about to pass out. The lower abdominal pain blurred my vision. Where does it hurt? Seeing Sam call me makes your heart hurt? I looked at her, took a deep breath, and finally forced out the truth. Victoria, listen. I have stomach cancer. The doctor wants me admitted for full workup and treatment, but you've been slammed lately, so I kept quiet. Victoria froze, then exploded. Ezra, have you no shame? You'll stoop to inventing this? All this time you've been fine, and now one call from Sam and you're suddenly dying? Last time it was the fake sob story about harassment at karaoke, and now it's terminal cancer? How much trashy drama will you script? She jabbed a finger at the door. Get out. Didn't you say your stomach hurts? Scram before you puke in my car. Sam's on his way, he likes the passenger seat and won't sit anywhere else. Fine. I reached for the handle. Victoria snatched my arm, teeth clenched. Ezra, if you set one foot outside today, we're divorcing. Divorce? I glanced sideways at her. Since you brought it up makes things simple. My lawyer has the papers ready. Don't forget to sign. Her grip loosened, she stared, disbelieving. You're serious? Ezra, don't come crying later. The instant the words left her mouth she gunned the engine. I hadn't steadied myself, half hanging from the open door, I was dragged several yards. Amid bystanders' screams I slammed onto the asphalt, Victoria's taillights fading into a blur. I drifted awake in Riverdale surrounded by my best friend Coleman and Victoria's parents, all wearing worry-lined faces. Only Victoria wasn't there. Not vanished, just rejecting every call. Her father's finger shook with rage. That unfilial brat dodging even me. Who does she think she is? Her mother dabbed tears. Where did Morgan run off to? A fight's one thing, but this - Coleman spoke coolly. Easy, should we call the cops? Dragging you qualifies as hit and run. No police please. Victoria's mother seized my hand, eyes pleading. Quinn, don't do anything rash. If this blows up it could hurt your future children. Coleman's mouth curled in a smirk, ready to retort, when a nurse stepped in and ushered him out. Only her parents and I remained. I gently pulled my hand from her mother's. Mom, I'm sorry, this may be the last time I call you that. Victoria and I are getting divorced. Color drained from her face, she traded a stunned look with her husband. Quinn, why? You and Morgan have always been the perfect couple. Mom, you know Morgan can be reckless, blind to anyone else's feelings, but her heart's not bad. We grew up together, nobody understands her better than I do. Because she wasn't evil, just a spoiled child. I tolerated every cut, waiting for change, until my own skin was nothing but scars. You can't find Morgan? I know where she is. I opened my phone to Sam's Instagram and showed them his latest post, a 9-frame carousel with Victoria. Caption, photo noobs, take notes, couple goals. Photos this sweet are mandatory for any getaway. In the shots Victoria glowed, flirtatious smile in place, while Sam stood tall, eyes soft and possessive. Arms locked, heads tilted together against the fairy tale backdrop of Disneyland Castle, prince and princess in living color. Her mother turned ash white. Her father said nothing, only dialed chauffeur and ordered him to haul Morgan home from Sam's location. The ward felt oxygen thin. Victoria's mother tried again. Quinn, since you married Morgan we've loved you like our own. When she comes back we'll straighten her out, she'll never pull this again. Just give her one more chance. We spoiled her rotten, she's still a kid inside. I lowered my head. Auntie, if your biological son lived this nightmare, would you counsel forgiveness? I also have parents who love me, they've simply moved to another world, it doesn't mean their love vanished. She froze, mouth open, then looked helplessly at her husband. He shook his head and exhaled. Bang! The door flew inward, kicked wide. Victoria stormed in. Ezra, impressive getting Myher to act along. So righteous when you yelled divorce. Having second thoughts? Too late. Where are the papers? Hand them over, I'll sign. She whipped a bouquet of white chrysanthemums at my face. Victoria, her parents barked in unison. She spun toward them. Dad, Mom, stop the theatrics. Ezra, the sentence died. I was seized by violent coughing, beads of sweat trickling down my forehead as I clutched my chest. Coleman walked in at that moment, swore, and rushed to push the window up. While thrusting a glass of water at me he roared, you know Ezra's allergic to pollen? Will it take a corpse to satisfy you? Victoria stood frozen, watching my blotched skin, panic flickering across her face. I didn't know, honestly. She hadn't known I couldn't tolerate flowers. Yet she remembered Sam's shoulder ached after swimming. When the attack eased, Coleman stepped aside. I walked up to Victoria and slapped her twice, no hesitation. Her mother half rose, but meeting Coleman's glare she sank back. Coleman smacked the pathology report against Victoria's cheek. Read it. Stage 2 stomach cancer, partial gastrectomy already done. You dragged him with your car, are you even human? That's attempted murder. She stooped, gathering the scattered pages, body trembling uncontrollably. After discharge I confronted her, we divorce, period. She refused, first claiming work overload, then nitpicking the settlement figures, anything to avoid putting pen to paper. I stared as if she were an idiot. Daydreaming much? That money is the inheritance my parents left me. When your startup was starved for cash and your dad cut you off, I emptied my account for you. Forgot already? Back then, estranged from her father and too proud for family handouts, she'd bootstrapped her company while he froze her funds. I was the one who bankrolled her with my parents' savings. I added flatly, forget it fine. The lawyers can fix that clause. Just sign. Desperate, she blurted, I'll give you 10 million, just don't divorce me, okay? My patience was almost gone. Victoria, you yelled at me in Riverdale to get the divorce papers ready, now I brought them, and you're backing out. At this point, what's the point? She looked a wreck. That was just me losing my temper. I thought you were using divorce to threaten me. Oh? So when you said I suppress lateral buds with apical dominance, that once we divorced you'd have a new groom inside a week, that I was an old toy you'd tired of, all that was temper too? Victoria's voice went hoarse. Yes, all of it. I gave a cold laugh and stopped arguing. It had happened during her company's team-building retreat. Sam, overhearing the older staff gossip about me, grew curious about the legendary CEO's husband and kept whining until Victoria agreed to bring me along. Victoria waved it off. Him? An aging man with zero side-shoot advantage, what's to see? Sam kept wheedling. Come on, the guys say Ezra was drop-dead gorgeous. I've got a thing for hot men. Victoria shrugged. They're pulling your leg. You outshine him by miles. Sam sent a coy sticker. No way. Anyone who landed a bombshell like Casey must have been a total Adonis. Victoria answered flatly. Mediocre at best. If you insist, I'll drag him over. That day Coleman was visiting me. When he heard, he offered to dress me in the latest clean-cut frat boy look. When he finished, he struck a pose. This outfit is so you it'll slay them. At the Western restaurant chosen for the retreat, the greeting I got was Victoria's sneer. At your age you still ape college kids, don't you know how pathetic that looks? She looked me up and down. Those clothes? People will think I'm keeping a boy toy. The others rushed to smooth things over. I sat down mortified. To break the ice I whispered, asking Victoria what flash sturgeon was. Sam, beside her, jumped in. Flash sturgeon makes caviar. Anyone who eats Western food knows that. He grinned nastily. Ezra, when you eat Western, do you still ask the waiter for chopsticks? Everyone roared, Sam doubling over against Victoria's shoulder, eyes flashing triumph at me. Victoria didn't budge. She glanced at me and spat one word, hick. Later I learned Sam had dressed almost identically that day. While other colleagues chatted with me, he was texting Victoria, Casey, did someone tell Ezra I trash-talked him? He copied my outfit to spite me. You lied, he's so handsome I can't even compete. Victoria answered, stop it. Today you outshine him 10,000-fold, you're so hot you melt me. Sam crowed, really? Then I'll wear this style to the office every day. When I read those messages I confronted her. Do you like Sam? Victoria laughed airily. So what if I do or don't? Would you dare divorce me? Divorce means nothing. The day after, men will line up begging. You're just a toy I'm bored with, no one will look twice. I said woodenly, Victoria, must every word wound? She spread her hands. If it hurts, don't listen. You know me, spoiled since childhood, I won't change. I'd known that from day one. Once, when kids mocked my chubby self, she stepped in and scattered them. Because of that rescue I excused every insult, every swing of mood, believing she simply hadn't learned love. When the filter shattered I realized my feelings were mostly self-delusion. I decided to move in with Coleman. Victoria's voice quavered. Don't go. I'll sign the papers. She said she'd be away a few days. If I still wanted divorce when she returned, she'd accept it. A week passed quickly. Her call came, Quinn, I'm back, but the lock code's changed. Help me in? I'd changed it quietly before leaving. I had no intention of telling her. I answered coolly, I'm having coffee. Come find me. Victoria never showed, Sam did. She hadn't gone to the office lately, and Sam, unable to reach her, hammered on my door until security chased him off. Then he tailed me when I went out. He looked haggard. I ordered him plain water. Gone was the sweet puppy mask, he glared. Victoria called you? She won't pick up any of mine. I spread my hands. Ask her yourself, she'll be here soon. Resentment flashed in his eyes. You feel smug, huh? I just met her later, that's all. Her clinginess is only pride bruised because you filed first. I'm younger, I fit her taste, I please her better, so she'll come back to me. You can't compete. I answered lightly, maybe. When you see her, remind her to sign. A man who truly loves her wouldn't let her wear the other woman tag. Sam bellowed, who are you calling the other woman? I said innocently, fine, call me the other woman then. Enraged, he grabbed his glass and hurled it. I dodged, stood, and splashed my coffee across his face. Sam lunged like a maniac, but bystanders pinned him. Sam, what are you doing? Victoria stood frozen, anger banked in her eyes. Casey, he drenched me, he whined. That's not what happened, he staged it to frame me, I deadpanned. Victoria scolded him at once. Ezra said no such thing, why accuse him? Even if he had, you started it. Sam stared, then stormed off. Victoria slid into the seat across from me. Quinn, Sam's just a colleague. I don't go for silly boys, you know that. I didn't answer. I just stared at her, ice cold, and motioned for her to sign the papers. She kept pleading, he loves posting things online. I thought it was fun, so I played along with those couple skits. But Sam and I never crossed the line. I hadn't planned to waste more words, yet her excuse hooked my curiosity. Then tell me what, in your book, counts as crossing the line? Chatting with him in the car until 3 a.m., dropping everything the second he calls, if that doesn't count, maybe sharing a bed someday won't either. She started to speak again, I was already done. If we're not here for business, we're done. I stood to leave. She grabbed my sleeve. Wait, I really do have business. She pulled out a sheet of paper, folded into a crisp square, and laid it in front of me. It was a bucket list. I tracked down every friend from elementary to high school and wrote down every dream you ever voiced. Victoria tapped the page. Give me one chance. Let me check these off for you, then decide whether you still want the divorce. I'm serious. The singer you loved in 8th grade? He quit performing, but I found him. One word from you, he'll sing for you alone. And you once said you wanted to see seals in Antarctica. I've mapped the whole trip, it's ready, we can leave anytime. There's more. Victoria. I cut off the torrent. Do you know what the biggest dream of my first half-life was? What? Her eyes shone. To marry you. My voice stayed flat. Once that dream came true, I woke up to how ugly the reality is. Now my biggest dream is to divorce you. Will you grant me that one? Victoria went silent, lips trembling, lost and helpless. In the end she signed. She kept asking why the man who once spoiled her without limit had suddenly turned to stone. The riddle tangled around her like a knot with no end. I thought of Sam's sneering comments behind my back and answered with a slow, bitter smile. Maybe I'm tired of older women. You're past 30, past your expiration date. I'm just not into that. Crimson shame flared in her cheeks, she couldn't muster a reply. I chose litigation. The gears of court grind so slowly I could bite my tongue. Half a year slipped by before I knew it. What floored me was that Sam had actually sealed the deal. At every hearing he shadowed Victoria, glued to her side. The look he shot me said, game over, I won. Victoria's belly had the faint swell of early pregnancy, they had obviously hurdled that last line. She wore her old icy mask again, yet whenever her gaze brushed mine, something conflicted flickered there. I watched Sam shield her stomach as they left, and a sudden spasm hit my chest. I almost stepped forward, then my phone buzzed. Ezra, you must be exploding right now? A text from Sam. He was waiting nearby for Victoria to bring the car. Feeling my stare, he lifted his phone and grinned like a victor. Another message popped up. Told you Casey would end up mine. Bonus news, I'm about to be a dad. Unlike you, huh? All those years trying for a baby and nothing. Takes a young gun like me one shot, and Casey's pregnant. Bet the jealousy is eating you alive. I had no comeback. I simply typed, congrats on the hat trick. I wanted to warn him that Victoria wasn't a safe bet, that he shouldn't wager his whole life. But seeing him so satisfied, I just sent my curt blessing. When the divorce finalized, Coleman and I moved into a new loft. One day an uninvited guest knocked. He wore a crisp crew cut, but his face was bloodless, eyes hollow and dim. Something about him felt familiar. Can I help you? He stared straight at me. Ezra. Long time. Do we know each other? More than know. 3 years ago, when I floored the accelerator toward Victoria, you shoved her aside and took the hit yourself. I still see you flying over the hood. He tilted his head, lost in the memory. My pulse lurched. Who are you, really? I'd always thought it was a routine accident. Victoria's family handled everything. By the time I left Riverdale, the case was closed. I'm Quinn. You've heard the name. Of course I had. Grad school of the College of Liberal Arts, our paths crossed once. Back then he radiated sunlight, dazzling as a constellation. Looking closer, only the clean brows remained, nothing of the campus star still clung to him. He said he met Victoria at a club fair. Only after they hooked up did he learn she already had a long-term boyfriend. He tried to break free, but her honeyed words reeled him back, turning him from victim into willing other man. The longer they stayed together, the more the proud Quinn crumbled, paranoia, depression, anxiety chewing him hollow. In the end he'd plotted mutual destruction. I listened, stunned. So before me, Victoria had already rotted through. For her, betrayal was the chainsmoker's last cigarette, always one more. And her parents craftier than I'd ever imagined. They knew the truth behind the crash yet staged a perfect wedding, sending me down the aisle beaming. Recalling their warm, caring faces while they planned our marriage sent ice down my spine. He asked about Victoria. I told him she was pregnant. He fell silent, then ground out, why do some people wreck others and walk away clean? This world is screwed. I tried to calm him. Don't waste another ounce of energy on her, Quinn. She's not worth it. He studied me and murmured, you've finally moved on. Lucky you. I envy that. I started to speak, but he rose and walked away, spine rigid as a blade. A month later the local news exploded. A man had knifed a couple on the street, one dead, one wounded, a double fatality. Viewers recognized the pair as the minor influencers I Edge for You and her CEO girlfriend. In bystander footage, Sam and the pregnant Victoria argue on the curb. He clings to her wrist, apologizing, desperate. He steps into frame, knife in hand, frail body swaying yet determined, each stride carrying him down the revenge path he'd started 3 years earlier. Thanks for listening. If you liked the story, smash the like and share it with friends. Drop your thoughts in the comments, we'd love to hear them. Hit subscribe for more gripping tales. See you next time.